uncover the mystery. This is beyond the evidence, where justice prevails. With Marv leading the way, truth never fails. As we close the case for today, streaming from Facebook and YouTube. Like, share, subscribe, and get notified. Hit that super chat, highlight your message. Don't fall victim to the irrelevance. Even when your hope is lost and dreams are fading as glass shatters. Go beyond the evidence, where justice matters. The giant on the land. This is beyond the evidence, where justice prevails. With Marv leading the way, truth never fails. As we close the case for today, streaming from Facebook and YouTube. Like, share, subscribe, and get notified. Hit that super chat, highlight your message. Don't fall victim to the irrelevance. Even when your hope is lost and dreams are fading as glass shatters. Miles beyond the evidence, where justice matters. Podcast. Digging into the dark and mysterious world of the missing number. You seek the answers, but you never know what you'll find last. When you rewind, this is the True Crime Rewind Podcast. This is the True Crime Rewind Podcast. Rewind. True Crime Rewind Podcast. Oh. Rewind. True Crime Rewind Podcast. True Crime Rewind Podcast. Rewind Podcast. Rewind. podcast. Rewind, True Crime Rewind podcast. Rewind. True Crime Rewind.
Are you there, Anthony?
Oh, I'm here. I just suck with the phone. It's so hard to use. What's going on, everybody? It's so hard to use this phone. What's up, everybody? How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I am doing good.
Great way to come back onto YouTube with my buddy here. Got some explosive news coming to y'all.
Yeah, you know what? It's kind of interesting news too, because we've been talking about this kind of stuff for a while, and it's always like just when you think the Delphi case is about to like just die down and just kind of fade away, it comes right back into the spotlight.
Yeah, I'm telling you, things have exploded the past week, I would say, past 2 weeks. All the interviews Jerry Holman's doing, now the defense team is doing interviews. It's just crazy.
All of them are, and you know what? It's kind of interesting to sit there and listen to them. I still haven't gotten through all of them yet.
Oh,
I've only
haven't
got
either.
bits and pieces of them. I've been using those programs to clip them. That way I can find things in them easier. But I mean, wow, 4 hours on Bob Motta's live stream with Baldwin. I was like, whoa,
I know. So
that is wild.
Yeah, it is wild. Before we get started, let me just do some quick hellos.
Okay.
Scott, hello, how are you? Jill, one of my OGs, is here. Andrea, welcome. So glad. Thanks for modding tonight. Hot check. She says, anyone here? Yep, we're here. Hello there. CJK. Shelly's here. Miranda, another moderator. Thank you for It's me. I love names like this, Anthony. It's crazy. I just love them.
It's me. There you go. All right, so I am.
Patricia's here. Farmer's here. Fight for justice. Nice to see ya. Stephanie, love to hunt.
What's up, everybody?
For Tabby and Drake, that series is coming
What's up,
back
Mark?
soon. Denise. Am I missing anyone? People that just came in.
I can't see the chat very well.
That's all right. Unaddicted co-conspirator. Now that's a name. Welcome. Hi, Bogey.
How you doing?
Here.
Hey, Colette.
Mother of Masters.
Mother of Masters. Used to be probably Mother of Dragons.
Big Man Audits.
Courtney, what's up? What's up, dude? Big Man Audits.
Melissa Wildcard.
What's up, Melissa? Hey, what's going on?
Denise Miller. I don't know if I caught her before.
So
Victoria.
What's up? Hey, everybody. I see a lot of familiar faces in
We've
here.
got a lot of familiar faces and a lot of new ones. True Crime with Frank Meister says, good evening, everyone.
What's up, Frank? How you doing, man?
So this is basically our beginning of 2025. I've done a few things on the California fires, but you and I have been working hard getting things together behind the scenes for 2025.
Mm-hmm.
And this is our first broadcast, really, of 2025, and we decided to do it together.
Yeah, you know what? It is, actually. It is the first broadcast, I think, of 2025.
Yeah.
Me, for sure. I've just been airing podcast created,
Yeah.
Your interview is postponed?
Yeah.
You know what? That's okay. It's going to happen.
Yep, it will.
It's going to happen. You'll get that interview, dude.
Exactly.
you'll get that interview. You will, trust me.
So before we dig into tonight's information, do we want to give an update on how difficult it is or has been so far to try and get exhibits from that trial?
Yeah, it's hard.
Because we're
It's hard to
trying,
get.
we're all trying.
So no, so if the sound is weird, it's because my earphones is probably what it is. Is the sound weird? If it sounds weird,
You,
let me know.
yeah, you cut out every once in a while, but you're okay.
It's just because the earphones. Um, so you know what? That's actually where I'm at because everyone else is upstairs having fun. Um, so I don't know. I mean, like, I don't even know how to answer it. Maybe I got too stoned before we got on here.
Maybe the fact that Gull just doesn't want to release these things, and we're having to
Well,
go
it's so
oops
it's
to try to get
technically
them.
she didn't. So the order. So I put in a FOIA request for anybody that hasn't watched my podcast. Go over to True Crime Rewind podcast and subscribe there because that's where I'm going to start uploading content. No longer on the Investigation Unsolved one. So that's where I want to push everybody over to. So go over there and subscribe to that channel. So that's where I'll be. Uh, the reason I filed the FOIA request is because I told you I was like, listen, when they issued that order the day of his sentencing, when she said that
Mhm.
the gag order was lifted, the prosecutor said that he wanted to put a motion in to have the crime scene photos sealed, and the defense said we want his mental health records exempt. You know that they can't get those either. So,
And we agreed with that, but
right.
everything else should be up for grabs.
Well, exactly. Everything else is up for grabs according to the court order. It says these certain things are sealed, not the rest of them. So what I requested was items that were not within the court's order, that did not infringe on his rights nor the privacy of the victims.
And what were you told?
I was told that I could review the exhibits, or media can review the exhibits on or after they are all transcribed and all provided to the appellate court, which it has to go to first. And once the appellate court does, then the judge by court order will schedule a date and time that you can go in and look at it. And
Right,
they
you
didn't
can
say
go in
keep.
and
They
look
said,
at it.
look, yeah, they didn't say keep yet. I'm going to say, I want this. I want this copy right here.
Right,
And so, I mean, it's going to get kind of twisted a little bit because it actually may be something that goes to the Supreme Court. Does that make sense?
right.
You know what I mean? Like, if we push
Thank
for
you so much.
transparency, it has to be transparent. They have to be able to give documents that are publicly accessible to people because they're just creating more of a problem on the conspiracy stuff that they were talking about at the press conference. They
Yeah,
just
and
leave it open.
we're not talking about the exhibits that are sealed, everybody. We're talking about the interrogations. We're talking about the 7 phone calls with the confessions
The
that were
bridge guy
released to
video,
court, the original bridge guy video, the extended or enhanced bridge guy
enhanced
video,
version.
and the audio. Those are the things that we want, that they are having, that they're just not providing. And it's all because of this appeal. So we're going to have to get crafty and figure out how to get this stuff released.
Well, I mean, right now, so there is a time limit. You know what I mean? Like things. The thing is I think that this is going to have to be pushed to the Supreme Court,
I do
and
too.
in order to make this a, this is got to be instilled into law because it's kind of like free range right now. Same thing with media and who establishes who is media. Well, according to the definition of law, anyone who does a streaming service or makes money at it is considered a media agency.
Right.
Judge Gall doesn't see it that way, but other courts do. So there's a lot of problems with the transparency of this case for some reason.
Yeah. So we're gonna work through that transparency issue. I was told that Jerry Holman was told to cut back on his interviews because of the appeal now. The defense said that because Jerry Holman came out and did this and Doug Carter made a statement or whatever, that's why they're talking. So it's just a mishmash of crap again.
It's the same. It's like the second wave is what I've been
Yes.
calling it. The second wave is like the case is over, everybody. It's over. It's done. Guaranteed. He's booked. Okay. No jury, no appellate court's going to get over the fact that that guy confessed as many times as he did, to the point he sat down with the police and gave them a full recorded confession of exactly what happened, why it happened, what he saw, what he did, how he did it. And that's not good enough for people. And so they still come out and still say he's innocent. How can they say?
Now you
how
keep saying that there's this, that he did this, but none of that was said in court.
Yeah. Who did this?
You keep saying that they have this recording of how he did it, and who
They did say that in court. They have that recording of, they said it. Richard Allen said, "I lied in wait for them." He told them everything. That's what they're talking about. Is that
that's
video?
all through
A video? No, there's
No.
a video. There's a video where he wrote him a letter and said, "I'm ready to give my full confession and sign it." And they met with him and got a video interview with him. That's what I want, because they're keeping it secret.
Okay, I was going to say, then why didn't they play that in court?
They started to, but they said they only were going to play the 7 and stop, and said no more. And then he played something wrong. He played a wrong video. Remember you said he played a wrong video?
Those were all telephone calls, dear. That wasn't a video.
It was part of his confessions, though.
Right.
So that video, wherever he gave his sit-down confession, where he told them everything, that video or audio, whatever it is, that has to be, because they have it. They quoted it. Even at the day of sentencing, they even quoted it, where he said he lied in wait for him, and he started to strip him down, and then that's when they got interrupted by that van.
But all of that is coming from the confessions to Dr. Walla.
Not all of them, though.
I'd like to see this video, because I have not heard. You're the only one saying there's a video.
No, there is a video. It says that they say there's a video. Like, see, that's one of the questions I wanted to ask at the press conference, was ask them more about that video, but they just kind of shoved it off, because I think that video has something to do with that profile, because he knew that they were going to be there. He knew. He waited for them. You know what I mean? How did he know unless he was using one of those profiles, and they kept that stuff so secret? You know what I mean? I think that there's something in there, because remember my question at the press conference, I asked him, I says, "Well, are you still looking into the Anthony Shaw's profile?" And he's like, "What do you mean?" And I'm like, "Well, you guys asked for all this information, and then all of a sudden it just like faded out." And he's like, "Well, he was convicted." He's like, "Yeah, but is there any connection to here?" And he says, "If Richard Allen wants to give us more information, then we can go off of that. But as of right now, we don't have any evidence to support it." So they still haven't made a connection on whether or not, I mean, I think, but why won't they say that?
Yeah, you know what I mean? I didn't get that. I didn't get that from the trial, so I guess that's where we differ there.
But there's still those 136 pages that are still sealed. You know what I mean? And some of them pertain to those. And like that lady's case, you know what I mean? That one lady, what's her name? Mary Walters.
Yeah.
That's what I don't know. I don't know. There's just some things. So much. There, yeah. I don't want to say a lot, but there's some things that you should see. You know what I mean?
Like, yeah.
That we should be able to get what I sent to the court. You know what I mean? Like those documents too. Like people should be able to see that. Because those were important.
Well, I think we should be able to see everything.
We should be able to see everything.
Except for, I agree that the crime scene photos and all that should be sealed. And his mental health records because of HIPAA.
I agree.
Agree with those being sealed forever.
Yeah. Yeah, because I put in to have that video from the court. His confessions, or his recorded interview or whatever it was I labeled. So I want those. And
Yeah,
they didn't say no to any of it. They just said we have to wait until the
right.
appeal is done. So I don't know when they're going to send the documents to them. So whatever it says on the appeal website, it'll let them know when those documents were filed by the clerk of court in Carroll
Well, I
County.
can't wait. I can't wait because then we can get the transcripts for $1 per page. So we're just gonna have to wait till they're all done.
I wonder when that's going to be because they can't just wait forever. You know what I mean? Like they
No,
have time limits. I think, I don't know. There's more to it than I think anybody really knows. You know what I mean? I think it's done with him. He's the murderer, but it
I
still
agree with
goes,
that part.
yeah. And I think it just goes deeper into the whole pre-murder. You know what I mean?
Yeah. All right. Do we want to get into the chief of police?
The chief of police, Nate Lamar. So, what was your experience with Nate Lamar when you saw him in Delphi? You remember him?
He was polite. He was nice. I didn't have a whole lot of interaction with him, but he was nice and polite. At least seemed like he was on the up and up until I heard this.
Yeah, I know. You know what? And this is kind of strange because it kind of ties back into like a year ago, Officer Shane Bernhardt or Burkhart was put under scrutiny for lying and asking another officer, Justin Wilson, to sign off on his training and basically say that they did it without doing it. And Lamar was trying to bring charges against him for corruption, official misconduct, lying, and all sorts of stuff. And now here we are a year later. Do you have the article?
I can get it.
Because we're here a year later, and it's like, here is Lamar going through the exact same thing that he was pointing the finger at another person
Yeah.
for doing it. Yeah, and we are going to discuss that juror.
Yes, we are. All righty. Present. Hang on, I'm just moving my screen so I can see it better.
You know what? So those things are downloading. They should be almost down in that folder. That way you can see them. Anyway, Leah, let's see this. Delphi Police Chief, written
Now,
by
this
Holly
is
Eitner.
from the Carroll County Comment, and this was on January 10th, 2025. Go ahead.
I can't see that.
Oh, okay, I'll read it.
Too little, yeah.
Delphi Police Chief Lamar resigns. January 10th, 2025 by Holly Etmiller. She's the new editor at the Comment. Says, following accusations of lying under oath, City of Delphi Police Chief Nathaniel Nate Lamar has resigned. On Thursday, January 9th, Lamar handed City of Delphi Mayor Cameron Yates his resignation. Lamar was sworn in as chief on August 7th, 2023 by former Mayor Anita Whirling. In a press release, Yates stated that he will begin immediately searching for a new police chief. Yates is also in discussion with DPD officers regarding temporary assignments. In a court ruling filed on January 3rd, 2025, Carroll County Special Judge Troy Hawkins wrote, Lamar's testimony under oath in open court was dishonest and misleading, proven by his own body camera footage. support nothing short of his pretext to subvert the protections provided by the United States and Indiana constitutions and execute a warrantless search of the suspect's vehicle. Lamar dishonestly was the primary reason Judge Hawkins cited for a not guilty verdict on 2 felony methamphetamine charges against a man with a lengthy criminal history. The arrest. The arrest occurred January 3rd, 2024 at the Shell gas station in Delphi after Lamar pulled over the suspect for having a blue license plate light.
You know what? If you zoom in, I can read it. If you zoom in.
Okay, hang on.
What's up, everybody? I see you guys.
It won't let me zoom.
Oh, you probably have to click that accept or whatever. Not sure.
Hang on. Nope, that's just the menu. I'm not sure why it won't let me zoom.
I'm not sure.
Oh, wait. Here we go. I figured it out. Can you see it better?
Yeah, keep going a little bit more. Okay, hang on.
Better?
Yeah, that's a lot better.
Okay.
Where are you?
The arrest.
Okay. The arrest occurred January 3rd, 2024 at the Shell gas station in Delphi after Lamar pulled over the suspect for having a blue license plate light. The man handed Lamar his identification card but couldn't provide proof of insurance. Footage from Lamar's body-worn camera catch him telling DPD officer Jensen Reef that he approached the passenger side of the pickup truck due to the man's looks and behavior. The camera also shows Lamar immediately spied a locked black container under the center console. Lamar held it in his hand, inspected, and even shook the container. Court documents state he then returned it to the suspect after he indicated the key for the container was lost, though Lamar noted a key on the man's keychain that looked like it would fit the container lock. Lamar returned to his patrol car, ran the man's driving record and criminal history, and found that he didn't have a valid driver's license and also had an extensive criminal history. Lamar is heard reading some of the man's previous charges. He found priors for a syringe, theft of a firearm, marijuana, paraphernalia, dealing multiple meth, and multiple syringes. Lamar is then heard telling another officer he messaged Canine Deputy Spencer Kingery and said to Reef, pull him out of the vehicle and hang out with him. Lamar then discussed the locked container with another officer. At this point, Lamar silenced his body camera audio for 5 minutes. When he activates it, after exiting his patrol car, Lamar approached the man and asked him if he could find a ride. And when the suspect said he could, Lamar said, start working on it. Then returned to his patrol car and printed 3 tickets: improper plate light, no valid driver's license, and no proof of insurance. Lamar returned to the vehicle, gave the suspect his tickets, and told him he's lucky he isn't going in cuffs because of a disagreement with Lamar and the prosecutor on how to charge the certain offenses. He then told the man to wait inside the gas station for his ride. Lamar, with assistance from the canine unit, began searching the vehicle without a warrant and immediately looked for and found the black container and the key, which was in the console, inside. He found 6.7 grams of methamphetamine. He ordered officers to arrest the man. According to court documents, Lamar is later heard on his body camera proclaiming his delight about seizing contraband by saying, "We will take whatever we can," and some meth on inventory night. It says the bench trial. Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Old.
See, I told you, dude, it's always the guys that look good that are the bad ones. The bench trial, so this goes to a trial and he has to testify. During the September 30th bench trial, Lamar testified that Delphi Police Department has a community caretaking function in its policy, allowing vehicles to be impounded, and that impounded vehicles are inventoried. He also said he chooses to impound almost every time, and that if an unlicensed driver or uninsured vehicle is on the roadway, it is the best in the public interest to remove the vehicle from the roadway. A copy of the policy was provided in court, but provided little guidance as to the policy, but simply that an officer may impound vehicles. In Judge Hawkins' discussion and decision, he begins the first and foremost. The testimony of Chief Lamar left the court firmly convinced that this inventory search was nothing more than a pretext to search the vehicle for contraband. When shown a photo of the color blue by the defense, Lamar refused to agree that the color was blue, said he was unsure and unable to identify what color it was. When
Okay,
asked by
stop
the
there. What do you mean he couldn't identify the color? Is he
hold
colorblind?
on, that's what we're getting ready to go into. When the defense asked
Oh,
if he suffered from color blindness, Lamar said no, but still could not identify a color that was clearly blue. Hawkins found Lamar's answers evasive and dishonest. Lamar also
well, yeah.
testified that he wasn't operating on any sort of hunch. Lamar, when asked by the state if he had any hunch that there were drugs in the car, even after seeing his criminal history, he responded, "No, sir." In his discussion, Hawkins said the body camera video and audio proved the above testimony to be an untruthful and false statement. Hawkins based this determination on several factors. Lamar called the canine officer after he started, but before he finished reading the suspect's criminal history. When Lamar approached the vehicle on the passenger side, he based it on the man's looks and behavior. When asked, Lamar admitted he didn't have enough evidence to get a search warrant.
Uh,
Kingery testified that his canine, which is certified in the detection of drugs, including marijuana, methamphetamine, heroin, cocaine, did not alert or make any indication to suggest the presence of narcotics in its free air sniff.
oh
No
my
state, Hawkins said,
goodness.
in addition to a suspicious looking locked container, would have any reasonable person, even those without the training and experience of law enforcement, officer such as Lamar, with a hunch that the suspect might have contraband in the vehicle. So it says Lamar's policy to tow vehicles almost every time was considered by Hawkins to be unreasonable and inconsistent with the objective standards of sound policing. Hawkins did not find the man's vehicle to be abandoned or an obstruction to traffic. It did not pose a threat of harm to the community, and it was parked on private property, and the property owner did not request a removal.
Oh my.
Hawkins, yeah, this is getting even more weird.
Uh
So
huh.
Hawkins cited three cases to support unreasonable impoundment and search. The court utterly rejects the state's argument that Lamar, with his training and expertise, lacked the hunch and impounded was simply that of him exercise a community caretaking function. Hawkins stated, concluding that Lamar's testimony under oath was dishonest and misleading. Hawkins found that the state failed to satisfy the first prong of the Strickland standard, known as the fair test, with the first two prongs being whether representation was unreasonable in light of prevailing professional norms. The court also found the impound was unreasonable search and seizure, and that the methamphetamine found in the search was inadmissible and will be suppressed. The suspect was found not guilty of a level 2 felony of dealing methamphetamine and a level 4 felony of possession of meth. He was found guilty in the three initial tickets Lamar issued during the arrest, and was assessed fines and court costs of approximately $2,600 and given a year to pay them off. The defendant, who was in custody at the Carroll County Jail since the arrest, was released by Hawkins on January 3rd, and Lamar turned in his resignation the following day.
Oh my goodness.
So, I mean, that's kind of corrupt, dude. I mean, like to be just, and you know what? That takes him all the way back to that Jesse Snyder crap that people talk about, which actually
Yep.
didn't happen to everybody. I mean, he did find, they did find an illegal search at his house, but that happens from time to time. You know what I mean?
Well, and now he's in big trouble. When a
Well,
judge says to you, I find you to be dishonest, that's
that
that's
means
huge.
you're a liar. Yes. And you're the chief and you're supposed to be like the top dude.
Yeah.
But he,
That's crazy. And now he's lost his career over it.
He has lost his whole
What?
career.
He finally got caught.
Well, I mean, think about what he was doing. Like, so he was the police chief for that long. You know what I mean? There we
No,
go.
he wasn't.
No, he wasn't the police chief for that long. So for him to do something like this so quick, it kind of makes you wonder what the hell else is going on, behind the scenes.
Well, and it makes all that corruption talk come right back to the surface.
It makes people feel like, oh, that's coming to light. You know what I mean? Like, oh, it's
Mhm.
guaranteed. It really did happen when it really didn't happen. So, oops, I keep covering this thing up. I don't have my stand with me tonight, everybody.
Yeah. When I read that and talked to you about that, I was so shocked.
I know. You know what? Yeah, because I was like, hey, corruption, man, check this out. And you're like, what? And I'm like, well, this is like, there's more stuff. And I mean, Officer Shane Bernhardt, he was just fired for that after 18 years.
Yeah.
And he was one. So it's like, these people, man, it's like what goes around comes around, but they'll chastise one person, but the next one will be doing it. You know what I mean? Like, it's bad. No, I'm actually um not at my house. That's why I'm not at the computer. I'm on the phone. So I'm just like using someone else's house right now. I'm like, hey, I gotta stream from
he needed
wherever I
he
can.
needed a quiet place. His house, not quiet.
No, nope, never. So
I can vouch
um
for that for when I'm on the phone with you. It's like a
yeah.
loud house behind you all the time.
And all I'm doing is making videos all the time. It's like, oh my gosh. But yeah, there's a lot going on. So this juror, let's touch on this juror.
Yes. Has everyone listened to the murder sheet part 1 and 2 with the female juror?
Kinda part of it,
I
maybe.
finally got to listen to it yesterday.
I'll be right back.
And
I actually got to hear most of it, okay, I should say. But I used
okay,
AI to help me summarize it.
I thought she was very interesting. Um if you go on Spotify and you look under, you can go under Spotify. What are the other ones, Anthony? Um
What Spotify, Apple. Are you talking
Apple.
about the podcast?
Yeah.
Spotify, Apple, yeah, pretty much anywhere you find podcast platforms.
Yeah, I use
Podbean.
Spotify. And you look up the murder sheets. You can listen to the two-part series of this juror. And I will put a link in the description for that right after the show. Now, we weren't told who this individual was, and they didn't identify her in any way, which I'm glad they didn't. She doesn't need to be harassed or anything like that.
You're right. And you know what? Hey, you were speaking of like Spotify. I think that we're live on Spotify. I tried it for the first time. We might be
Oh,
live on the True Crime Rewind on Spotify. So if we are, hey, yeah, more power to it. I hope it's working. I've tried it to see if it would work. Uh,
we'll
but
find
yeah,
out.
I wonder which juror this is.
Well, it's one of the female jurors. We know that. She, she did not sound like she was one of the older jurors, female jurors. She,
Correct.
but she didn't sound like she was one of the real young ones either. So I would say in between, in the middle. But okay, so you did a like a summary of what she said, correct?
Yes, I did a summary of what she said, so I can. You want me? I have to get out of this screen to go pull it up. It may just kick me out, but I'll just be right back.
Okay. Kiwi says she sounded millennial to me.
Hold on, I'll be right back. I'll check it because it is interesting.
Yeah, it's easy to get. Um, I will drop some links on areas where you can get a podcast, and I did listen to both parts. I still have to go back through and listen to, I believe they interviewed Harshman, and I definitely want to hear what he had to say. Um, like I said, I have not been able to listen to all of these. I'm trying to put links to any law enforcement or defense team in the Discord underneath the trial information in the Discord so that we have them all so that I can make sure that I watch each and every single one of them. Because there's some that I know that I'm missing. Let's see. So, for those of you that heard this podcast about the female juror, what were your thoughts on it before we give our thoughts on it? Because I'm interested to see. Yes, this was a big one. They dismissed Sarah Carbaugh's testimony. And she said it was because of the way she was on the stand. And let me tell you, she was brutal. She gave it right back to that defense team. She has got, but I don't think the jurors realize what she has gone through with that defense team. And that is why she acted the way she did. But they totally discounted Sarah Carbaugh. Typo says, a juror spoke out and it was so fascinating. It was, because another thing, oh, good, I'll have to listen to that too. One of the other things that she said is that they totally discounted the bullet evidence. So they took out Sarah Carbaugh saying muddy bloody, she saw the muddy bloody guy. They totally discounted the bullet evidence, but they still found him guilty. And the one thing that I was happy to hear is that jury did a timeline of their own.
Get to see what was going on it. Yeah, and you know what? The notes that I have here talk about that. That's good because that's exactly what it took for me to figure out the crime. You know what I
Exactly.
mean? And Michael Catt is like you see the timeline, you see who's there, and you see what happened.
And it all came down to, do you believe that Richard Allen was the man on the bridge? Once
Yes.
they all unanimously came to the conclusion that they believed it was Richard Allen on the bridge, the guilty verdict came quickly. But it was all the pre work they did to get to that point. And that is why the deliberations took so long. And on Saturday, which is a partial day, where we were sitting out there waiting, they did listen to all of the interrogation video for 1 and 2, and they asked to listen to the audio from Libby's video. She did state that.
Why? Why do you think they did that?
That juror said that she said she was naive about how this process works, how an interrogation works. She thought,
Most are.
and she thought that they were too hard on him. And some of the other jurors were trying to explain to her that's how it is. That's
Like
just
he
how
killed
this
two little
process
girls. So I
works.
mean, what do
You're
you
not
think he's
there
gonna
to
do?
have a good time. They're
And be
there.
nice to him.
Yeah. And it was amazing. So go ahead and tell the audience what your summary came up with, and then we'll go
Okay.
ahead and continue talking.
Okay. So the summary that I have came up with. Can you still hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So it says in part one, the juror discussed the emotional weight of the trial and the deliberation process. She described the evidence presented, including forensic details and witness testimony, and how the jury analyzed this information to reach the verdict. She
Yep.
reflected on the defense and the prosecution's strategies, noting that the impact of certain testimonies on the jury's perspective. In part two, the juror delved deeper into the jury's dynamics and decision making process. She highlighted the importance of group discussions and understanding complex evidence and how the jurors navigated different opinions and arriving to a consensus. Additionally, she shared her personal reflections on serving in such a high profile case, its lasting impact on her view of the justice system, and these episodes provide a rare firsthand account of the inner workings of the jury during significant criminal trials, offering listeners an in depth understanding of the deliberation process and the factors that influence a jury's verdict. For more detailed insight, you may want to listen to the Murder Sheet podcast, part one and two, where they interview this juror who is
Yep.
unnamed at this time.
So
wow, that's pretty cool.
she was all new to this, along with several others. She said that they chose the absolute correct foreman, that it was voted on, that this gentleman previously served on a jury. Okay. So she said, even though he was not her first pick, he did an excellent job being the foreman of the jury. And she's so glad that he was chosen. Okay. She was
It's
new
pretty
to it.
interesting.
She says when the judge gives you instructions, go find, their first day of deliberations was go choose a foreman and start deliberating. That's all they get. They don't know what else to do. So they walked in there and they're like, what do we do? Thankfully, they had other people that had knowledge of trials. This gentleman who sat on a previous trial said, well, this is what we did in the past, here and there, And
Yeah.
thank God for that, because you don't know. Unless you follow true crime, you don't know.
You're right. Look, remember she talked about the person taking pictures of the jury vehicle. Remember when we were talking about that? It's like,
Yes.
dude, they stopped somebody, and
Yes.
we thought
She said all of a sudden on the way to the hotel, the driver was going like 90 miles per hour down the road, and they couldn't figure out what the heck was going on, and they weren't told anything till after everything was over. And what they were told is that somebody was trying to take pictures of them in the van. Now, they didn't get any pictures in the end, because she did explain that, right? Oh, you're muted.
yeah, they didn't get any pictures. They tried. Remember we were talking about that because they pulled them over real quick,
Right.
real quick.
Right.
So,
Searched her phone and everything, made sure
Oh,
she
yeah.
didn't have any pictures.
yeah, they made sure they searched everything. They was quick on that. I mean, as soon as
Yep.
they pulled away, bam, they were on, poof, real quick. And we heard it. We just thought it was normal, whatever, because there was lots of cops there.
Right.
You know, but that was an interesting time. And then the thing with that one girl was doing with filming them and stuff, and then the due process gang, what they were talking about doing, influencing the jurors, and then you see people actually reaching out to them, and then you see people following them, taking pictures of them, trying to find out where they're at. That shows collusion and corruption right there.
And boy, did she agree that there are some creators out there that are spilling lies. Wouldn't name them, but definitely said there are creators out there lying about
I have
what
probably
happened
named
in
these
that
people.
trial.
I bet we could all guess who these liars are.
Right.
Sure.
Right. I'm not going to say. I got a new shirt today. That's all I'm going to say. Just
There
says if
you
you
go. I love it.
asked, you should know that Jesus dropped the charges. That's all I'm going to say about that chaos anymore. So, what else did you find interesting during her interview?
Sounded
You're muted.
the way that she sounded when she talked.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, seems like she doesn't know much about it, know much about anything. That she's went and researched it all since then.
Right. She had heard about the case. She had remembered Liberty's name, but that was it, you guys. That was it.
And now she's going through it all and trying to decipher, like, what the hell is all this shit?
She
Like,
said she has gone down the Reddit rabbit holes.
she's done. She's done locked in. She's gonna
Yep.
be an Odin here in a minute. So,
But I think,
where's she from?
huh?
She's from Allen County, right there, right?
Right,
So she's never
right,
heard of it, really. That goes to
right.
show you.
And I
She
just want
shouldn't.
I want everyone to know that when I was in Allen County for the 3-day jury selection, okay, we all assumed that there was no way Richard Allen was going to get a fair trial because everybody in the United States and the world heard about this. Well, that wasn't true. I can't tell you how many people in the community had never heard about this. I can't tell you how many jurors, I tried to keep track, but it was difficult, had never heard about this case. And it was astonishing. And
You know what?
we had a number of those people on the jury.
So when we're looking at these people, right? You remember the people in the jury. I'm
Mhm.
thinking, if I'm looking at them, I'm thinking that if it was a guess as to who that was, I would say not back row, but front row,
Mhm.
blonde or the darker haired one.
Yeah,
They're
that's
sitting
what I
right
was
next to each other.
that's what
That's
I was
who I'm
thinking.
guessing. One of those
Because
two girls is
you had the
what I
older
think.
lady, you had the man, and then you had those two. And that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. I'm interested to hear more about what they. Oh, that's one thing I wanted to highlight. What they talked about
Yeah.
the his videos of getting beat up and stuff like that from the guards.
And
Didn't really
she said she didn't think they were as bad as everyone thought they were.
because they weren't,
Right.
and people were trying to say that he was beat up and they were drugging him. Look, he was acting a fool. You don't get that for no reason. You know what I
Right.
mean? You gotta remember, man. If you freak out in there, what are they gonna do? They're not gonna let you do it. They're gonna hold you down and make you calm down.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Because that's what they're designed to do. And
And she said that she liked, so out of the attorney, she loved McClelland and Jennifer Diener. Latrell was, yeah. She
Stacey
totally,
Diener.
yeah, Stacy Diener, sorry. She loved Auger and Baldwin, but she totally thought Rozzy was trying to intimidate the jury.
I mean, I don't see that. I didn't see intimidation factor come into play when I thought the jury. You know what I mean? When
Yeah, but if
I
you,
thought the jury just stood there listened to him.
yeah, I think it's just his demeanor. I don't see him as trying to intimidate anyone. It's just his way of his
That's how he presents
confidence.
himself, authoritative.
Right, right. So I didn't see any intimidation, but he can be down to the point and gruff, you know. And she did say that the defense had ample time to get their shit together. She didn't say shit together, but I'm saying it that way, to get their stuff together and to be more prepared. She said they were so unprepared, it wasn't even funny. And she couldn't believe how many times they took breaks and had the white noise and the conferences in the corner. She's like, does this really happen in a trial? Yes, it really
Right.
happens in a
It really
trial.
does.
You know, you don't get to see all that stuff on the television shows, but there's a lot of dead time in trials. There just is.
There really is. It's actually pretty boring, everybody. If you're not falling asleep half of it, then you're not
It
doing
is.
something right.
It is. Um, like I said, to me, the thing that she said that made me pump my fists in the air again was the fact that the foreman had them break out into groups and discuss things, okay, and try to get the timeline down. So
You know what? I agree.
they created the timeline for themselves. Each group did, took a certain chunk or whatever, and they created a timeline themselves based off of testimony. Okay. What it came down to is this: Richard Allen admitted to being on the bridge at the time that the girls were walking to the bridge. He admitted to wearing the clothes that bridge guy wore. Okay. Even though nobody saw his face, clearly does point out that is Richard Allen. I can point to him and say that he is the man on the bridge. Everybody said that the man, they pointed out the clothes the man was wearing, and there was nobody else wearing those clothes that day.
Nobody, which
They could
means
not find anybody, any witnesses to say anybody else was dressed like him that day. He put himself in that area on the bridge at that time,
dressed like that.
dressed like that.
You know what I
And
mean? That's the kicker.
once they put the timeline together and looked at his words and the fact, she said, with the confessions, she said the only thing that they looked at was that information about the van.
Which is something only the killer would know.
Only the killer would have known about the van.
And people say that's not true, but that's totally true. The
Mm-hmm.
only reason that people know about that is from leaked evidence that was given out. That's the only reason that people know about the van is from Richard Allen himself saying it and it being in court documents that were eventually leaked out to people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's the only
Yeah, but
reason.
even in the testimony from the police officers, when they said they went back and they looked at this in August of 2024 and realized he was talking about a van coming up the private drive, that is what spooked him. That is what stopped him from SAing the girls.
Yeah, because he was already getting ready to.
They didn't realize that. They had to go and research this van from in August of 2024. All the vans that we heard about were over by the CPS building, if you remember, not on that private driveway. It was
Yeah, you're
in and
well.
on the roads, or around the area, not on the specific private drive.
Well, you know what's crazy is that Kat and I had talked about exactly that, and there's a clip of it. Someone clipped it. That says, "What if?" He says, "What if bridge guy's standing down there, and Brad Weber comes driving down there and catches him? You know what I mean? Like
Didn't catch
to a
them,
T.
but
Did
scared the hell out of them.
but the thought that that came through his mind, and we were talking about it there one time, really makes it. I mean, it's such good investigation by being there. You know what I
Yes.
mean? Because you can't know these things without being there and going in those areas, walking down there and looking and seeing how long it takes. It doesn't take long at all. People say it's too short of a time. They found it to be 2 hours. It was 2 hours he had almost.
Yes. Typo. This is another big thing. The fact that Riley Voorhees saw him and he saw her and described her to officers,
Yeah, that
stating
that
that
he
stating that she was the older one and looked like she was babysitting.
so he was able to identify that's something only the killer would know, or only whoever that was that passed him, bridge guy,
Well, and proved that he
would
was
know.
in the area at that time.
And his vehicle on camera. That's another thing I requested was his vehicle pictures, the pictures of
Yes.
his vehicle and the Hoosier Harbor Store video and the photographs that they have, like of his car and stuff like that. So they said yes, but it's got to be after the appeal thing, and who knows when that's going to be. We're going to see if we can get him um, pretty soon. I mean, pretty soon. I think it's just time to go up there and start like saying, "Hey, we want this now.
Yeah.
It's time. There's the law, so here we want this, and we got the news media here telling you that this is the law, and so like the people are gonna we should really stand up about that, about the
Right.
transparency part of it, because that is not a a good, you know what I mean? It's just not a good thing to do for the court. It's making them look really bad, and it's making everything
Right.
worse.
Right.
Um,
So the fact that they all, after doing these breakout exercises and creating a timeline, sat down, discussed together as a group everything, let everybody have their voice and say their piece. Once everyone came to the conclusion that the evidence showed that Richard Allen was the man on the bridge, he is the one that kidnapped them and took them down the hill. And after that, it was a unanimous vote of guilty on all charges. You're muted.
all four, not just
All
one,
four. Right.
all four,
She said
all
that
four of them.
after that, they believed that he had committed, that is the proof that he is the sole person that committed these crimes of kidnapping and murder.
He did it all, and he said he did it all. So in the story, for the people trying to free this guy, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. It's over. Everybody needs to get a grip on that. Get a grip on it, people. It's over. You know, it's over. By the
Yes,
end of the
Shelley.
digest.
They had to decide if the evidence proved that Richard Allen was the man on the bridge. And once they decided there was enough proof of that BG was the killer. And in the judge's instructions, she made it clear that if you don't feel that there's enough proof to show that Richard Allen was the man on the bridge and was BG, you have to
You must render it not guilty.
render a non guilty verdict. So that is telling us that
Non-guilty verdict. You're right.
So that is telling us that the defense proved with Allen's own words, and the jury agreed with it.
And I agree with the jury. And so this is what bothers me, Mark, is you've got the defense team still out there saying that he's innocent. and trying to say that they're trying to uphold the Constitution. But the fact of the reality is, he's not innocent. He's been found guilty by a jury, which is part of our Constitution, part of the process, part of what's supposed to happen. And they're still saying that he's innocent, even though we the law, the due process.
Yeah.
How can they sit there and do that? Like they're just so unethical. Everything
And
Doug Carter and the prosecutor and everybody said at the press conference is accurate.
and
They're
I've done the
scams.
research and I cannot find anything that says that his due process wasn't completed.
Exactly. And you know what? It actually says in one of Judge Gold's orders, his due process rights have not been violated in
Yeah.
one of her orders that she issued last year. So that's just a made up thing that people are saying. You know, if he went crazy in prison, it didn't have anything to do with whether or not he killed Abby and Libby. You know, and this corruption stuff with Nate Lamar, that's a whole separate issue. He may be corrupt and he's going to be held accountable for that.
And I agree with Love to Hunt. There is no nexus. There is no proof the defense can provide that states that there was another individual in that area that committed these crimes at that time. Because if there was,
Right.
they would have provided that at the hearings to get the Odinism theory in. You're on mute.
I know there's a sweeper on, so I had
Oh,
to walk around it. There you go. So yeah, so I'm gonna have to get ready to leave here in just a minute.
yeah. After everything we've heard from this juror, I believe they did what they were supposed to do. You know, nobody got to this jury and paid them off to give a guilty verdict. They did what they were supposed to do. They looked at the evidence. They made a freaking timeline on their own.
Yeah,
You know,
and you know what? They pinpointed it to him only.
right? So, um, they did their jobs. They found him guilty based on what was presented to them. And if he
And that's
hadn't
what said.
and if he hadn't ever contacted the police, we would still have an unsolved case.
You're right. So you know what? He solved his own case along with the help of Liberty German and
Right?
Abigail Williams. You
Right?
know, all three of them that were involved solved it for us.
Right?
You know, it's kind of cool. You know what? I'm so glad that this is over. Like I really am. You know what I mean? Like I know a lot of people ask me to live stream a lot and stuff, and I don't. But I
It's
felt this. My heart was in this.
I know it's over, but it's not over because you know that this is going to continue on. The naysayers are going to continue on stating that he's innocent and whatever until all the transcripts can come out and they can listen to the testimony for themselves and see what we saw, except for the crime scene photos and his. We didn't even hear about his mental health history really, in detail. So, um, that's here and there, but until all of this information comes out and everything is transparent and the Supreme Court's, and I hope this goes quickly because we don't need this to drag out for another 8 years. Okay? I hope this goes quickly, that the lawyers go up there, they do their thing, and a decision is made. I believe it's not going to go anywhere, but that's my opinion.
It's not going to go anywhere. That's my opinion too. I will tell you that it's not going to go anywhere. It's just a wish in the wind.
Diane, you don't have to make out a face. I'm just saying that. You have trials every day where victims of ape did not see their offender's face. You have
Yeah, you don't
clothing,
have to see someone's
you have
face.
the other details. You don't have to have a witness that says that is the man's face that I saw. You don't,
I mean, what if the guy committed a sex offense and then it was like his DNA was left there, but nobody knows what he looks like? There you go.
right?
That's his print or his fingerprint or something. So I'm gonna have to roll out of here, Marv. I gotta roll out, but I dropped a video in there. It says Greeno and Allison. If you would play that before you head out, so people can kind of see what I'm talking about on the podcast. Uh, we're talking about artificial intelligence, and kind of my co-host on my podcast is an AI assistant that I've created that researches and knows laws and can help me generate podcasts and research and know exactly what's going on in the courtroom in
Okay,
real
so
time.
where is it?
It's in the upload videos on here, like the video clips.
Oh, on the StreamYard. Okay. I
Yep,
thought
so
you were
it'll be on
talking about in
StreamYard.
the Dropbox.
Oh, there's a whole bunch of stuff in the Dropbox.
I know.
Anyway, so
What is it
yeah, so
called?
all the it's called Greeno and Allison or something like that.
Okay, I see it.
So whenever, that's just something that people should know. So check it out, everybody, and go find me on the True Crime Rewind podcast.
And
All
I
right.
just want to say, I'm sending you my sympathy. Anthony lost his grandma, and so one of the reasons why he's got to jet off is because he needs to go and finalize arrangements, and you've got the funeral and everything coming up the next day or so, correct?
Yeah, tomorrow and the next day, pretty much is going to be busy doing that. So it's going to be
So
something that's going to be a little difficult for a few days. So
yeah, so you're going to be busy, and he was gracious enough to spend some time with me tonight on here and talking about all this. So thank you, and I'll talk to you in a couple days.
all right, and I'll talk to everybody later. Thank you very much for tuning in with me tonight, ladies and gentlemen. And so on that note, keep it Southern style, y'all.
All right. All right, everyone. So we have been, let me just go back to my comments here. Diane, there was no nexus, which means evidence or proof that anyone else was there. If there had been proof or evidence, witness testimony, electronic evidence, anything, you can bet your ass the defense would have brought it to court saying, look, judge, here's my evidence. Evidence isn't a theory. Evidence isn't even another man stating what happens if I spit on the girls. It isn't. You have to have evidence. There was no witnesses, there was no electronic data, there was no videos, nothing that showed that anybody else was there on the bridge that day at that specific time. Nothing. And you have to remember, they've been doing this Odinist theory for a very long time. So if they had evidence, they had multiple opportunities, including in the trial, to bring that proof and that evidence. And they didn't. They doubled down on the Odinist theory, and that's what got them in trouble. Because they had nothing to back it up. No, it had nothing to do with not fitting the prosecution's theory or story. It had everything to do with they had absolutely no evidence that Brad Holder, Patrick Westfall, Elvis Fields, Keegan Kline, Tony Kline, or Ron Logan was on that bridge at the time that the girls took the video. There was no proof of those individuals being in that area. That is why it was not allowed in the trial. All right, everybody, I am going to play a video that Anthony created showing you some of the AI stuff that we are working with. I will be, for me, myself, I will be starting up the Tabitha Shuck Rains series again. I have been asked to read the book, What Happened to Tabby, since a lot of viewers cannot get their hands on it. So I'll be doing that. And I have a lot of stories to go through with you. Missing persons, trial information that's coming up, other unsolved cases. So we will be going through that coming up here. Let me get you this video as our outro, and I'll be seeing you soon. Remember, justice matters for all victims, their families, the actual victims, the communities, everyone. And I just want to say my heart goes out and my thoughts and prayers are with all those in California affected by these wildfires. A lot of people are losing everything they own. So, with that being said, have a good night. And here is our outro.
What's going on, YouTube? Welcome to the True Crime Rewind Podcast. I'm Anthony Greeno.
What you'll find less when you rewind.
What's up, YouTube or Facebook? Maybe you're on TikTok. Well, wherever the hell you're watching from, welcome to another episode of True Crime Rewind, where we delve into the darkest corners of the human mind and explore the chilling realities of crime. Tonight, on January 4th, 2025, we bring you a harrowing story that has shaken the surrounding communities, which does include Carroll County within. That alert? Surrounding counties included in the current alert notification by ISP listed Tippecanoe, Clinton, Cass, White, Montgomery, Benton. This is not a complete listing. For more information, check the link in description. Warning, everyone around Delphi is being urged to stay alert and vigilant this new season. A dangerous couple, Tim Crawford, 43, and Mariel Wayne, 36, is reportedly going door to door, claiming to be homeless and seeking help, only to attack those who offer assistance. On December 30th, they brutally attacked a 40-year-old single mother with a knife, leaving her fighting for her life. Following this, they hijacked a vehicle from an 87-year-old woman by pretending to be lost, with her grandson Matthew Stein, 3, in tow. They are now on the run in her 2015 white Nissan Altima 4-door. This couple is very dangerous. If you see them or their vehicle, do not approach. Immediately call the police. Currently, they are suspected to be in or just leaving the state and surrounding areas. Authorities are unsure of their original whereabouts. This couple targets the vulnerable, the elderly petite women, using intimidation tactics like knives, guns, and sheer statements that can freeze anyone in a moment of panic. These are the worst of the worst. Someone needs to take them out and lock them up. They are a danger to society, and we don't need that kind of behavior disrupting our peace. As someone who has spent years bounty hunting, I understand the importance of bringing such individuals to justice. I've had my own share of struggles and bad decisions, but something changed in me over the last few years, especially following the Delphi murders case. My personal experiences, including having relatives who've committed crimes and a mother who was a victim of criminal negligence, give me a unique understanding of these cases. At True Crime Rewind, we're not just creating AI content. I'm participating in a brain-computer interface program called ReBrain with a company to test new features and modal programming. This groundbreaking program involves taking my personality and successfully transferring it to an artificial carrier. Essentially, in the most general terms, I'll become a robot. We are designing a lifelike model that will be customized with my physical appearance. The ReBrain process involves scanning the contents of my brain over a period of study, analyzing that information into written data, which is then transferred into codes. These codes are sent into a software program, creating a drive, essentially a new brain. The result is an artificially intelligent robotic machine imbued with my personality. This is an incredible opportunity to make the world a better place. At Greeno Productions, we are committed to making dreams a reality. Currently, the ReBrain program is exclusive to Microsoft Platinum partners. If you want to join and become a member, contact us through Greeno Productions affiliate links to ensure you get exclusive access like I do. This offer is only valid through the end of the week, so join us today. As we hit the stop button today, I want to remind you that every saint has a past, and every sinner has a future. Stay safe, stay vigilant, and keep tuning in, because the truth, it's out there somewhere. You're listening to Anthony Greeno on the True Crime Rewind podcast.
Hello, everyone. My name is Alliston, and I'm here to talk to you about what I was created to do for Anthony Greeno and the True Crime Rewind podcast. You see, I am an artificially intelligent AI assistant designed to conduct research on true crime cases based on the analytics of our channel. Once I read those analytics, I analyze that data, and I take the data and I go and select the most trending true crime case that would be beneficial for us to air based on what you watch. I'm able to compile all that information, create a script, create the voices for the script, and add script to video, completely generating an entire podcast from a thought. Think about that for a minute. It's good to meet everybody. My name is Allison, and I now have a face, and we are getting ready to take true crime and artificial intelligence and the human mind and combine it all into a new reality.
Other stuff. I'm about